The diner smelled of coffee and fried eggs. The kind of smell that clings to your clothes long after you've left Dot at table 9 sat a man who never said much. His name was Jack Dawson, though no one in town really knew him beyond that. Dot, what city are you watching from today? If this story resonated with you, hit subscribe for more real stories about extraordinary people. He wore an old brown jacket with frayed cuffs, a plain gray t-shirt, and jeans that had seen better years. Every morning, he came in with his little daughter, Lily, who was 6 and always carried a sketchbook filled with colorful crayon drawings. Jack would order the same thing, 1 black coffee, 1 short stack for Lily, and sit quietly while she talked about her dreams of becoming a rainbow painter. Most people thought Jack was just another struggling single dad. His pickup truck was dented, his boots worn, and he lived in a small, creaky rental house by the edge of town. But what no one knew, not the waitress who smiled kindly at him, not the teenagers who snickered behind his back, was that Jack Dawson once served as a Marine sniper in Afghanistan. And not just any sniper. He was the sniper, the kind of ghost soldiers whispered about. The one they said could make a 1,000-yard shot in a dust storm without blinking. But that was another life. Now, his days were about pancakes and coloring books, not battlefields and body counts. Until that morning. Until 3 high school kids decided to make him their joke. It started small. They were loud, the kind who laughed too hard at their own jokes and thought cruelty was comedy. One of them, Ryan, the ringleader, noticed Jack sitting there quietly, his head slightly bowed as Lily showed him her new drawing of a unicorn with wings. Ryan whispered to his friends, "Look at this loser. Bet he's some drunk or broke vet. Let's make him smile." They all laughed. When the waitress turned away, Ryan grabbed a cold bottle of Coca-Cola, shook it violently, and said, "Hey, old man, heads up." Before Jack could move, shift, the soda exploded, showering his jacket, his table, his little girl's drawing. Everything. Lily gasped, her lower lip trembling as the brown fizz soaked her paper. The teenagers howled. With laughter, the entire diner froze. Jack just sat there, silent. Then, slowly, he took a napkin, wiped his daughter's face, and whispered, "It's okay. It's okay. Don't cry." His voice was calm, almost too calm, but his eyes, those eyes were ice. Eyes that had once stared down a rifle scope at men who never knew what hit them. Eyes that could measure wind speed, distance, and threat in less than a heartbeat. Lily sniffled. "Daddy, my drawing's ruined." He smiled gently. "Then we'll draw a new one when we get home." He stood up, his movements deliberate, controlled, like a man holding back something massive. Ryan laughed again. "Oh, come on, it's just a joke." "Don't be so serious, Grandpa." Jack didn't say a word. He just looked at the boy, one long, piercing stare that made Ryan's grin falter for the briefest second. Then Jack walked out, hand in hand with Lily, his jacket dripping Coca-Cola. Down the diner's floor tiles. No one said a word, but every person there felt it. That's strange. Heavy silence, like the air before a storm. Because some men carry peace like a shield. Others carry it like a warning. And that day, Jack Dawson's warning had just been ignored. That night, the town slept under a thin drizzle. But in the small wooden house at the edge of the woods, Jack Dawson sat awake. He wasn't angry, not in the loud, shouting way most men are. His kind of anger was different. Cold, precise, the kind that doesn't explode. It calculates. He sat at the kitchen table, turning an old military coin over and over between his fingers, a token from his Marine days, engraved with the emblem of the 1st Recon Sniper Platoon. On the wall behind him hung a faded photograph, 5 men in dusty uniforms, arms over each other's shoulders, grinning in a desert sun. Every one of them had that same steady look in their eyes. 4 of those men were now gone. Jack was the last. He heard soft footsteps and looked up. Lily stood there, sleepy-eyed, clutching her blanket. "Daddy, why were those boys mean to you?" He smiled gently, motioning her to sit on his lap. They weren't really being mean, baby. They just don't understand. Understand what? That not everyone who looks weak is. Lily thought about that for a moment, her head resting against his chest. Then she whispered, "You didn't do anything, Daddy. You just cleaned my picture. You're the nicest daddy ever." He hugged her tightly. That kind of long. Silent hug only single parents know. The one that says, "I'll never let this world break you." But deep inside, something else stirred. He had walked away from the Marine Corps to give Lily a peaceful life. No guns, no blood, no fear, just crayons and Sunday pancakes. Yet, when those boys poured Coca-Cola on him and made his daughter cry, they didn't just humiliate him. They disrespected every man who ever stood between chaos and civilization. Still, he tried to let it go. He told himself it was over, until the next day. The morning sun rose through the mist as Jack drove Lily to school. The town was small. Everyone knew everyone, and news traveled fast. At the diner, the waitress, Martha, told the story to a local cop. Word spread. Some punk kids messed with a quiet single dad yesterday. By noon, almost everyone knew, except those boys who were too busy bragging about it at the gas station. They recorded themselves, laughing, showing off the footage on their phones. "Yo, look at this. We got that old vet so good." The video showed Jack sitting still, soaked in soda, holding his crying daughter. The video went viral locally. Hundreds of shares. People commented things like, "Poor kid," or "What's wrong with these kids today?" But when Jack saw the clip that evening, it wasn't the laughter that broke him. It was Lily's face in the background, lip trembling, tears mixing with chocolate syrup and soda. That was the moment something inside him changed. Not rage. Resolved. That night, he opened an old trunk under his bed. Inside, wrapped in a Marine flag, was a collection of memories he promised never to touch again. His sniper rifle bolt action, perfectly oiled, disassembled. His rangefinder, a folded letter from his late wife, written before she died of cancer while he was overseas. He touched the paper softly. Her handwriting. "Jack, come home safe. Lily will need a father, not a hero." He whispered, "I kept my promise. Sarah, I came home." Then his voice darkened. "But sometimes, being a father means being both." The next morning, Ryan and his friends were at the abandoned quarry outside town, their usual hangout spot. Loud music, empty soda cans. They were laughing again, watching their prank video. Then crack. A loud sound echoed across the canyon. The can on the hood of Ryan's car exploded, spinning off in a burst of sparks. Everyone froze. "What the?" Ryan shouted, scanning the tree line. Crack. Another can burst open. No one could see where it came from. "Who's there?" "That's not funny," shouted one of them. Then they heard footsteps. Slow, calm, controlled. Jack stepped out of the shadows, baseball cap low, wearing his old brown jacket. No rifle in his hands, just a calm stare that made the world go silent. He stopped a few meters away. Voice steady. "Fun's over, boys." Ryan swallowed hard. "Hey, we were just kidding, man. You don't gotta." Jack cut him off. "You think what you did was funny? Throwing soda at a little girl? Making her cry?" Ryan looked down. His friends backed away. Jack walked closer, his boots crunching the gravel. "You see, where I come from, when men act without respect, someone usually teaches them why that matters." He leaned in, his voice low, almost a whisper. "I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to make sure you never forget what respect feels like." Ryan's face went pale. Then Jack turned, walked back toward his truck, and said one last thing over his shoulder. "Next time you think someone looks weak, remember, some of us were trained to be invisible before we ever learned to smile." He drove away, leaving behind 3 boys who would never laugh the same way again. Back home, Jack found Lily waiting with 2 cups of hot chocolate. "Daddy, did you make them say sorry?" she asked innocently. He smiled faintly, kneeling beside her. They didn't say it, but I think they meant it. She grinned, handing him a cup. Then it's okay now. Jack looked at her innocence, her light. He knew he couldn't change the world for her, but he could. Stand guard against it, Dot, and as she laughed and showed him a new drawing, one of a soldier holding a little girl's hand under a rainbow, Jack Dawson, the legendary Marine sniper, finally smiled, because sometimes the bravest battle a soldier fights is learning how to be gentle again. You made it all the way to the end, and that says something. I hope this story gave you something to take with you, even if it's just a small thought or feeling. If it did, leave a like, subscribe, and tell me what stood out to you the most. I'd love to hear it.